I've pretty much lived at the doctor's office since I was a child. It started with unexplainable fear and paranoia, developed into debilitating tummy aches, traumatic dreams, horrific acne, allergies, insomnia, fainting, depression, food and chemical hypersensitivity, and then finally a torturous and hellish incapacity to get out of bed or associate with my fellow human beings. My poor patient mother took me to doctor after doctor, but test after test revealed very little of the source of my ailments, which understandably meant treatments didn't give any relief and hopelessness ensued. No matter what I tried, I just couldn't shake the constant anxiety and hypersensitivity to everything. Many days I just survived, willing the agony to end, but I held on to a small shred of hope.
Except when I'm afraid, which is always, so I never have hope. Why would I? Things are bad. It is a hopeless netherscape out there, and we but wary travelers. And here's the thing, it's okay, because we all die one day.
So I kept reading books, researching articles, and watching YouTube in desperation for an answer or even a clue to unlock the mystery of all these seemingly unrelated illnesses. Through a labyrinth of investigation, I finally arrived upon a treasure trove of wisdom. There's this super duper lady named Annie Hopper who has a very similar backstory to mine, except she's in an ideal situation. She's a trained counselor. She was able to make use of her and many other doctors and scientists' marvelous knowledge of the miraculous capabilities of the brain and figure out how to heal herself. She's helped hundreds of people with her dynamic neural retraining system, including me. She taught me the root cause of all my seemingly unrelated ailments: limbic system impairment. I would totally understand if that answer is a little anticlimactic, especially if you're like me and hadn't heard of the limbic system before. So,
let me enlighten you on the subject.
The limbic system is a group of structures in the middle of the brain that cooperate with each other to perform critical functions for survival. It's in command of encoding memories and is constantly determining our level of safety. It's closely integrated with the immune system, the endocrine system, and the autonomic nervous system. It regulates the functions of our internal organs, such as the heart, stomach, and intestines. It assigns emotional significance to everything we smell, see, hear, feel, and taste. And it's the brain's anxiety switch. As you can see, the limbic system is pretty darn important. The thalamus, amygdala, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland are a few of the structures in the limbic system that we'll be exploring in this video. These cool kids help us remember threats and then automatically respond without needing to think it over or decide what action to take. For instance, when met with a bear, the eyes and ears will sense it first. Then the thalamus is like,
"Yo, incoming sensory information!"
and signals both the neocortex and the limbic system. Next, the amygdala grabs that information as if it's the last piece of pie at the buffet and searches through past memories to decide whether the bear is a threat or not. If the amygdala decides it's a threat, it makes an instantaneous decision to initiate the fight, flight, or freeze response before the neocortex has time to reject the sensory information. Then, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland work to promote a bunch of reactions to keep us alive, like pumping blood to the arms and legs, dilating the pupils, making us pee our pants, and signaling the adrenal glands to release hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These are astounding and miraculous chain reactions that support and protect the body from dangerous situations. And, incomprehensibly, all of them are performed before we're even conscious that the bear is in front of us. After escape from the bear, the thalamus and amygdala signal the stress response to turn off, and we go back to our mostly calm and safe life. But what if something goes haywire? What if the amygdala doesn't stop sensing danger? Ever. For years and years. My problems may have started when I was triggered into a stress response. It could have been instigated by any trauma, an emotional ordeal, physical harm, virus or bacteria, or toxic chemical exposure. The anxiety switch flipped in my brain and didn't turn off, even though the threat had passed. This never-ending stress response is known as a trauma loop, like an exhausted, sad, and panicked hamster stuck on a wheel that only wants to get off but doesn't know how. I'm not sure how my difficulties started. It may have been when I was in my mommy's belly. She had a very difficult pregnancy. Or with a tick bite, or because of mold exposure. I don't really know. The biggest issue when in a trauma loop is the fact that the limbic system takes control of the brain. In a healthy brain, the prefrontal cortex is in charge. So, what's the problem with the limbic system being in command? It seems pretty capable, right? Normally, when the limbic system is doing its job, it quietly and unconsciously directs our body's involuntary processes to do their work without attention or any assistance on our part. But when it's in charge, it turns into a toddler with a power complex and won't let the rest of the body do its job or live in peace. When in constant fight, flight, or freeze, digestion, libido, memories of anything that's not life-threatening, ability to sleep, and many other important processes used in thriving are turned off. It makes sense if you think about it. When faced with a life-threatening situation, you don't need to digest your donut, or stop and smooch your lover, or take a nap. You need to survive. The prefrontal cortex is the ideal driver of our brain bus. According to Daniel and Tana Amen, the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that makes you human, involved in complex behaviors and personality development. In humans, it accounts for 30% of the brain's volume. Compare that to chimpanzees, whose prefrontal cortex is 11% of their brain's volume, dogs at 7%, cats coming in at 3%, and mice at just 1% of their volume. The prefrontal cortex is involved with executive functions such as focus, forethought, judgment, impulse control, and empathy. It functions like a boss at work. When the prefrontal cortex is low in activity, people struggle to make good decisions. That's what makes protecting it, particularly from brain injuries, especially important. I would call living with the limbic system in the driver's seat as survival mode, and living with the prefrontal cortex as a very capable driver as thrival mode. As all my ailments progressed, I instinctively knew there was something wrong with my noggin. It felt as if an alien had hijacked my brain, but I didn't know how to get back in control. I tried so many treatments. I practiced yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and innumerable medicines and therapies. But my overstimulated brain just wouldn't calm down. So, is it possible to simply tell the limbic system to shut up and get back in line? Maybe some of us can, but like lots of people with severe injuries, many of us need help from a qualified rehabilitator in order to heal and thrive again. Most of us simply can't walk off a severe brain injury, just like any other serious damage to the body. And this is where the DNRS training has helped me. Miraculously, our brain is incredibly changeable and moldable. This moldability is expressed in a term that's getting more and more traction, and thus getting more studied and understood by capable scientists. It's known as neuroplasticity. Annie Hopper explains, through conscious awareness of thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and adding semantics, we can change brain structure and function. So, I'm getting better. The fact that I'm producing this YouTube channel is proof. Just a few months ago, I could barely read a chapter of a book, and I certainly couldn't learn how to write a script, edit a video, and upload all those components onto the internet. I'm able to recognize the dysfunction of my limbic system and distract my brain from jumping onto the hamster wheel of uncomfortable symptoms. My life and brain aren't perfect, but things are improving. I've linked some supplemental articles and a seminar given by Annie Hopper in the description, just in case you'd like more info.
Now, my friends, at the close of this video, let me leave you with some words of wisdom to take with you into that adventure we call life. If there's a little rodent controlling your brain, don't name it Alan.
Alan! 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 Alan!
Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to my amazing son for his animations. If you'd like to support this channel, a like, comment, and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. I'm so excited to share my brain adventures with you all.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.